Hi everyone, and welcome to the Car Man's channel. You have Jamie Jones, the Car Man, and I am going to show you how to remove and reinstall a Ford Focus alternator. And if you need help with this, you are definitely in the right spot. Now, in our description, we will have a list of the tools used, as well as links to the products. If you would like to buy an alternator, we'll have that for you. Now, what you see in front of you is a remanufactured alternator. A lot of times I suggest buying used, but this particular case I do not with an alternator, because these particular alternators are known to go bad and they burn out pretty regular, so it's not a big deal. The battery light may be shown in your car, or your battery may be constantly dying. I would have it tested before I actually replaced it, because it is a little cumbersome as far as work goes. Step one is going to be to remove the terminals off your battery, because as you see here on the positive, I already have them pre-loosened for video purposes, but there is a direct positive cable going straight to your alternator. And that particular thing, it will arc and spark as you try to take it off the alternator here in a minute when we get down to that point. And just for general purpose safeties, we don't want to short anything out. We don't want any bad stuff happening, so the safest thing to do is just to loosen these out. Also, quick tip while you're here, check your terminals. Get you a little guide like this. Make sure they're clean. Takes a few seconds and just keeps the contacts nice. Whenever you get messing with a battery, it's always good to keep an eye on these things. A little bit of maintenance goes a long way with batteries. We have a Fusible Link on the Focus. It's located on the top of your valve cover, and you see it right there. It's busted. Now you can get a Fusible Link from either online. I'll try to put a link on it for you. And pretty simple to switch out. You see it's burnt right in half, and I went ahead and removed this cover so you kind of get an idea. So it's just kind of pinched in there with your cable. With that Fusible Link, it doesn't matter if you put a new alternator in or not, the battery light's going to stay on. You're not going to charge correctly. Secondly, I have a 1, see the number 1 right there, the 1 amp fuse. That's it. That's what controls your alternator. That's what overrides the circuit for the alternator circuit. Some Focuses are different, but I just wanted you guys to get that opportunity to double check both of these things before diving off into this, and I'll get into the battery. And Step 2, we are going to be accessing the alternator from underneath the vehicle from the passenger side, so we want to have a safe elevated vehicle. As you see, we use a jack. The jack is still under it, and after we got it high enough for me to get clearance, we actually use this as a 6-ton jack stand. You can use a lighter one. We prefer 6 tons because we know that it's nice, solid, and safe. What we're looking at now on step 4 will be the dust cover covering up the serpentine belt. There will be 2 fasteners. The first one's a number 8. I'll be using a Milwaukee 3/8 drive. Okay, there we go, bolt number 1. Do keep up with your fasteners, because we definitely will need them to put it back together. I know a lot of people think that they save gas money by putting cars back together with less parts. Although there is an argument for that, I guess. Probably better just to go back and put it the way it came apart. Alright, let's see if you can actually see the second one. Alright, you see where I'm at right here. And it's just, like I said, it's just 2 fasteners. And away she comes down, alright. Let's gently take that out. We want to make sure nothing else is going on. Alright, step 4 is now complete. Okay, so the step 5 is going to be releasing the tension off the belt. As you see, I just have a 15mm wrench where my finger's going to. This is going to be the small pulley that's sitting beside the crank. You see the big pulley on the bottom? Look directly right beside it, going toward the towards the passenger firewall side of the car, towards the back. You just put it on there, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull down on it. Be very careful. I do have a piggyback wrench on it, which allows you to do a little extra torque. I'm going to take it off camera, but I'll just show you what I'm talking about, because I am doing this by hand. As you see do you see the lever moving up there? All right, so that concludes step 5. I'm going to do this and pull the belt off, and we'll get right back. For step 6, it will require no tools. As we go under the engine compartment, we are on the passenger side, and you see the reservoir. It's noticed power steering has the yellow lid. Take a look here on the sides. It has 3 points of contact. It's basically just pinched in there with rubber. You can just pop it out. And all we really want to do at this point is just set it out of the way, because we need access to the top stud for the alternator mount. Okay, with the power. Okay, so the next part of this job is going to be removed. You see it right there. That is a 15mm bolt, and then that is an E-torque stud. This is on the bottom, kind of facing the fender. And then moving around, you'll see this little 14mm bolt just sitting there. Hopefully it'll come in the screen for you. We're going to go ahead and pull that one out. And as far as unhooking the alternator, you see it's got a connection right here, which is just a little 10mm, and then another 10mm that has that post attached, and then you see a clip. Unfortunately, because of the angle, I won't be able to just actually show you me taking those off, but just for the record, the top is still in as far as the stud is there, so it will hold it. Please wear safety glasses, and I shall tell you in just a second if you can leave the top stud in or not. Okay, be right back. Okay guys, I was in fact able to leave the stud at the very top stud on. This is what we're working with right here. I just went ahead and put that 15mm back on, and that is what an E8 looks like. That's external Torx stud on the bottom. It will have to come out. The other fastener that is on the bottom is a 13mm, and the two fasteners that hold the wires in are 10mm, which you see we've just completely removed for the simplicity of taking this out. Also, there is a clip. It's just a push in and pop out. So what you're going to find yourself is, now you've got it out, and you will see it's wedged up nice and tight in between the rack right here and of course the engine block. And you're like, Carman, how am I going to get out of this? No problem. We're going to take the 13mm out of this dog bone joint right here, this motor mount. A little 13mm, no big deal. Pops out. And then this amazing thing happens. Please excuse me for making you drunk. I'm going to attempt to film this on the go here. Now, you see right here where your CV axle's at? And you'll see a nice little metal block right here. You don't need much. All you would really need, I'm going to move this and it should just fall right out. Okay, I'm on the metal block here. I'm going to have to give it some love, but you see what I'm doing with the engine. I'm able to move the engine with that thing out, and I'm going to be able to, well, if you take a look, the starter's just caught right there. Let's see if we can go ahead and take this. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to see if I can actually just pick this up. All right, a little bit of room here. I hate where this is located, but there's not a whole lot I can really freaking do. All right. Okay, the camera's just in the way, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. You're going to have to move this back, pull the alternator out. All right, give me a second. We're going to go over our tools and catch you up and see how this all went down. Okay, everybody, we got that bad boy out, and it's time for me to show you what I use. If you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. We could definitely use the support as well as a share and a like, man. That would be awesome if you could do that. Secondly, anything I'm getting ready to show you is going to be available in our links below. And please shop our Amazon. It does support us, and of course we do appreciate that. It keeps us making this great material. Definitely dig our links on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and anything I think is pertinent in this little description I will share with you as well. One thing that I love my Milwaukee. This is the fuel, and I'm pretty sure it's the 2767. My memory's not that great. Yeah, 2767 fuel. That is one bad boy. You don't need that. That's overkill, but I use it for the lug nuts, along with a 19 millimeter socket. That's how all Ford Focuses, that's what their wheels are made of. Okay, also use the little 3/8 ratcheting Milwaukee. And then I used a 300 lumen light, so that's why you can see everything that's going on down there. Got to have great light, got to have some safety glasses. Meanwhile, as far as hand tools that we used, I used a 15 millimeter to take the tension off, and then I used a 15 millimeter ratcheting for the top nut. That was the 15 millimeter on top of the alternator bracket. So I used two different type 15 millimeter wrenches. And then I used a piggyback for torque on the tension. Meanwhile, I also had to have an E8, which is external Torx bit. This is with a 1/4 inch adapter, so I could run a 3/8 drive in it, because the bolt is extremely long, as you see right here. I did leave the top stud on, no problem. And that, of course, is the 15 millimeter that goes nut that holds it on. Okay. Also, we had to use a, trying to get to her. We used a 13 millimeter to bust this one off. This is the third bracket that was on the alternator, third bracket bolt. And then as far as sockets, we used an 8 and a 10 for the dust cover, and then a 15 millimeter deep for the bolt, which we were just talking about, and then a 13 millimeter for the bolt on the motor mount, and as well as the 13 millimeter for the third mount for the alternator. Anyway, guys, that's a wrap, man. We sure appreciate it. And wait. I did use a 3/8 ratchet to break it free, and I also used an extension. Okay, now we're ready to break it free. Now we're ready to wrap it up. Peace and love, man. Nothing but love from you, from the car, man. If I can do anything for you, hit me up 24/7, baby. I got to roll now and get ready for our next episode. See ya.